Zach Kohane is a Renaissance scholar in our field.
Zach is involved in so many different areas of informatics, and when they don't exist yet, he starts them.
Zach is a visionary leader, a true innovator, and an extraordinary teacher.
He's become a true leader of the field.
To have built a web-based electronic health record system in the mid-1990s, to borrow the coolest components from Napster, and to use that as a way for universities to show what research specimens they had.
He has discovered or developed new technical solutions to complex problems. But along the way, he continues to be passionate about caring for patients.
And then to launch I2B2, to interoperate across electronic health record data across academic medical centers.
His footprint to date in biomedical informatics is enormous, and I'm convinced that much more is to come.
Zach brings the patient's perspective, knowledge, and experience into the clinical conversation through technology.
I had developed an interest in biology, and I thought that's where my career would go. I then was waylaid, hijacked by computer science. I was introduced to Peter Solovich, who then became my thesis advisor. Not only did he show me a path through the application of machine learning and artificial intelligence to medicine, but he gave me many life lessons on how to be a thoughtful mentor.
We talked about the value of collaborative research, and I had this idea that credit is infinitely divisible, and so there's more credit to go around if you collaborate.
Technically, my biggest contribution is to early on show how we could use the admittedly crummy residue of clinical care, the electronic residue of clinical care in our electronic health records, to drive not only clinical decision support, but research at scale, to use our health system and its hospitals as a living laboratory for discovery research. This probably had its earliest instantiation in the I2B2 system.
I2B2 now serves as the technical solution to information exchange across hundreds of institutions and hundreds of analytic projects all over the world.
Aren't they already doing this? I asked Zach. Zach turned his head and said to me, Ken, there is no they. It's people like us who make these things happen.
That piece of software has been really unique in many ways in academia and in biomedicine in general. For a piece of software developed at an academic medical center to be used so broadly by so many organizations is really remarkable.
Zach has an amazing ability to use technology to keep the patient at the center of the clinical conversation.
The fact that if you scan through his papers, there's work on genomic markers, there's work on autism.
Most recently, his work in the Undiagnosed Disease Network has brought informatics solutions into an enormous community that has been underserved both by healthcare and informatics.
Looking at this previously monolithic label, autism, and showing how using a variety of data, whether it is electronic health record data, or claims data, or genomic variation data, or gene expression data, we can pull it apart and see that there are really different disorders underlying this previously monolithically characterized disease.
He has a wonderful phrase that, the saying about how anecdotes are not data. But Zach's reply is that 1 million anecdotes are data.
Hundreds of patients whose diseases were never well understood are now diagnosed with appropriate therapeutics prescribed for them because of the blend of clinical knowledge and clinical information.
He has mentored a lot of his own students who have gone on to great successes, and he's brought in a lot of people in his department who I admire very much and who are doing really interesting work.
I joined Zach's lab because he was, and probably still is, the only computer scientist and pediatric endocrinologist out there. In many ways, I went to Boston Children's 3 years earlier because I had heard he was there.
But what I truly enjoy most of all with these students is learning from them, and frankly, how they share my amusement with some of the paradoxes and the missteps and opportunities available in medicine.
From where I sit, Zach has been the single most influential individual of his generation in innovating approaches to instrumenting the health delivery system for research.
Zach is continually on the leading edge, with his receptors wide open looking for what's going to be the next amazing direction research needs to move into.
He's always looking for the next interesting problem and trying to figure out the implications it's going to have for truly delivering medicine differently and improving patient outcomes.
Zach is a man who lives close to his skin. He brings a vibrancy of himself, his intellect, and his engagement with others in a way that consumes the conversation, makes you want to go forth with him to solve the problems. He brings a partnership. He brings an awareness not only of his own intellect, but of those around him, and finds a special way to meld them.